Hi, my name is Joy. My student number is S04411015, and I am a freshman in NCUE. I'm going to deliver a speech titled Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are. So I want to start by offering you a free no-tag life hack. And all it requires of you is this, that you change your posture for 2 minutes. But before I get it away, I want to ask you to right now do a little audit of your body and what you are doing with your body. So how many of you are sort of making yourself smaller? Maybe you are hunching, crossing your leg, maybe wrapping your ankle. Sometimes we hold onto our arm like this, sometimes we spread out. I see you, so I want you to pay attention to what you are doing right now. We are going to come back to that in a few minutes. And I'm hoping that if you learn to tweak this a little bit, it could significantly change the way your life unfolds. So we are really fascinated with body language, and we are particularly interested in other people's body language. We are interested in, an overall interaction, or smile, or a contemptuous glance, or maybe a very abrupt wink, or maybe even something like a handshake. Narrator, here they are arriving at number 10. This darky policeman gets to shake hands with the President of the United States. Here comes the Prime Minister. No, Amy Cuddy. So a handshake, or the death of the handshake, can have a token for week and week and week, even the BBC and the New York Times. So obviously, when we think about nonverbal behavior or body language, but we can call it nonverbal, a social scientist, is language. So we think about communication. When we think about communication, we think about interaction. So what is your body language communicating to me? So what's my communicating to you? And there is a lot of reason to believe that it's a valid way to look at this. So social scientists have spent a lot of time looking at the effect of our body language or other people's body language on judgment, and we make sweeping judgment and inference from body language. And those judgments can predict really meaningful life outcomes like who we hire or promote, who we ask out on a date. For example, narrowly a body, a researcher at Tufts University showed that when people watch 30-second soulless clips of real physician-patient interaction, their judgment of physician niceness predict whether or not the physician will be sued. So it doesn't have to do so much with whether or not that physician was incompetent, but do we like that person and how they interact. Even more dramatic, Elliot Tudor and Princeton has shown that the judgment of political candidate fans in just 1 second predicts 70% of U.S. Senate and gubernatorial race outcome. And even, let's go digital. Emotion used well in online negotiation can lead to you gain more value from that negotiation if you use them poorly. The idea, right? So when we think of nonverbal, we think of how we judge others, how they judge us, and what the outcomes are. We tend to forget, though, the other audience that influenced by our nonverbal, and that's ourselves. We are also influenced by our nonverbal, our thought and our feeling and our physiologist. So one nonverbal and I talking about. I'm a social psychologist. I study prejudice, and I teach in a competitive business school. So it was inevitable that I would become interested in power dynamics. I became especially interested in nonverbal expression of power and dominance. And what are nonverbal expression of power and dominance? Well, this is what they are. So in the animal kingdom, they are about expanding. So you make yourself big, you stretch out, you take a step, you are basically opening up. It's about opening up, and it is true across the animal kingdom. It's not just limited to primates, and humans do the same thing. So they do this both when they have power sort of chronically, and also when they are feeling powerful in this moment. And this one is especially interesting because it really shows us how universal and all these expressions of power are. This expression, which is known as pride, Jessica Tracy has studied, should show that people who are born with sight and people who are congenitally blind to do this when they win in a physical competition. So when they cross the finish line and they have won, it doesn't matter if they have never seen anyone do it. They do this so they honor in the V. The chain is slightly left. What do we do when we feel powerless? We do exactly the opposite. We close up. We red ourselves up. We make ourselves small. We don't want to bump into the person next to us. So again, both animal and human do the same thing. And it is what happens when you put together high and low power. So what we tend to do when it comes to power is that we complement the other's nonverbal. So if someone is being really powerful with us, we tend to make ourselves smaller. We don't mirror them, we do the opposite of them. So I am watching this behavior in the classroom, and what do I notice? I notice that MBA students really exhibit the full range of power nonverbal. So you have people who are like caricature of alpha, really coming into the room. They get right into the middle of the room before class even starts. Like they really want to occupy space. When they sit down, they are sort of spread out. They raise their hand like this. You have other people who are virtually collapsing when they come in. As soon as they come in, you see it on their face and their body. And they sit in their chair and they make themselves tiny. And they go like this when they raise their hand. I noticed a couple of things about this. One, you are going to be surprised. It seems to be related to gender. So women are more likely to do this kind of thing than men. Women feel chronically less powerful than men, so it is not surprising. But the other thing I noticed is that it also seems to be related to the extent to which the students were participating and how well they were participating. And it is really important in the MBA classroom because participation counts for half the grade. So business school have been struggling with this gender gap. You get this equally qualified women and men coming in, and then you get this difference in grade, and it seems to be partly attributable to participation. So I started to wonder, okay, so you have these people coming in like this, and they are participating. Is it possible that we could get people to fed it, and would it lead them to participate more? So my main collaborator, Dana Carney, who's in Berkeley, and I really wanted to know, can you fed it till you make it? Like, can you do this just for a little while and actually experience a behavioral outcome that made you seem more powerful? So we know that our nonverbal govern how other people think and feel about us. There is a lot of evidence, but our question really was, do our nonverbal govern how we think and feel about ourselves? There is some evidence that they do. So for example, we smile when we feel happy, but also when we are forced to smile by holding a pen in our teeth like this, it makes us feel happy. So it goes both ways. When it comes to power, it also goes both ways. So when you feel powerful, you are more likely to do this. But it is also possible that when you pretend to be powerful, you are more likely to actually feel powerful. So the second question really was, so we know that our mind changes our body, but it's also true that our body changes our mind. And when I say mind in the case of the powerful, what am I talking about? So I'm talking about thought and feeling and the sort of physiological things that matter outdoor and feeling. And in my case, that's hormone. I look at hormones. So what do the mind of the powerful versus the powerless do like? So powerful people tend to be, not surprisingly, more assertive and more confident, more optimistic. They actually feel they are going to win and even and against our chance. They also tend to be able to think more abstractly. So there are a lot of differences. They take more risks. There are a lot of difference between powerful and powerless people. Physiologically, there also are differences on two key hormones. Testosterone, which is the dominance hormone, and cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So what we find is that high-power alpha male in primate hierarchy and high testosterone and low cortisol, and powerful and effective leader also have high testosterone and low cortisol. So what does that mean? When you think about power, people tend to think only about testosterone because that was about dominance, but really power is also about how you react to stress. So do you want the high power leader that's dominant, high on testosterone, but really stress reactive? Probably not, right? You want the person who is powerful and assertive and dominant, but not very stress reactive. The person who's laid back. So we know that in primate hierarchy, if an alpha needs to take over, if an individual needs to take over an alpha role of study, within a few days, the individual testosterone has gone up significantly and his cortisol has dropped significantly. So we have this evidence, both that the body can shut the mind and this in the facial level, and also that role change can shut the mind. So what happens? Okay, you take a role change. What happens if you do that at a really minimal level, like this tiny manipulation, this tiny intervention for 2 minutes? You say, I want you to stand like this, and it's going to make you feel more powerful. So that is what we did. We decided to bring people into the lab and run a little experiment. And these people adopt for 2 minutes, either high power pose or low power pose. And I'm just going to show you 5 of the pose, although that took on only 2. So here's one, a couple more. This one has been dubbed the Wonder Woman by the media. Here are a couple more. So you can be standing or you can be sitting. And here are the low power pose. So you are folding up. You are making yourself small. This one is very low power. When you are touching your neck, you are really protecting yourself. So this is what happened. They come in, they spit into a veil. For 2 minutes, we said you need to do this or this. They don't look at picture of the pose. We don't want to pre-net with a concept of power. We want them to be feeling power. So 2 minutes they do this. We then ask them, how powerful do you feel? On a series of itself, item, on a series of items, and then we give them an opportunity to gamble, and then we take another saliva sample. That's it. That's the whole experiment. So that is what we find. Risk tolerance, which is the gambling. We find that when you are in the high power pose condition, 86% of you will gamble. When you are in the low power pose condition, only 60%, and that's a whopping significant difference. Here's what we find on testosterone. From their baseline when they come in, high power people experience about a 20% increase, and low power people experience about 10% decrease. So again, 2 minutes and you get this change. Here's what we get on cortisol. Higher power people experience about a 25% decrease, and the low power people experience about a 50% increase. So 2 minutes lead to this hormonal change that configure your brain and basically be either assertive, confident, and comfortable, or really stressed reacting and feeling sort of shut down, and we can all handle feeling, right? So it seems that our nonverbal to govern how we think and feel about ourselves. So it's not just others, but also ourselves also. Our body changes our mind. But the next question, of course, is can power posing for a few minutes really change your life in a meaningful way? It is in the lab. This little test is just a couple of minutes. Where can you actually apply this? Which we care about, of course, and so one thing where you want to use this is evaluating situation like social threat situation. Where are you being evaluated? Either by your friend for teenager, is in the lunchroom table. For some people, it's speaking at a scoreboard meeting. It might be giving a pitch or giving a talk like this or doing a job interview. We decided that the one that most people could relate to because most people have been through was the job interview. So we published this finding and the media are all over it. And they say, okay, so that is what you do when you go in for the job interview, right? You know. So we were of course horrified and said, oh my God, no, that's not what we meant at all for numerous reasons. Don't do that again. It is not about you talking to other people, it's you talking to yourself. What do you do before you go into a job interview? You do this. You are sitting down. You are looking at your iPhone or your Android, not trying to lead anyone out. You are looking at your note. You are hunching up, making yourself small, when really what you should be doing maybe is this, like in the bathroom, right? Do that 2 minutes, so that's what we want to test. Okay, so we bring people into a lab, and they do either high or low power pose again. They go through a very stressful job interview. It's 5 minutes long. They are being recorded. They are being judged also, and the judges are trained to give non-verbal feedback. So let's look like this. Imagine that is a person interviewing you. So for 5 minutes, nothing. And it is worse than being heckled. People hate this. It's what Marie LaFrance called standing in social quicksand. So it is released by your cortisol. So this is the job interview we put them through because we really wanted to see what happened. We then had this corridor look and this tab. 4 of them. They applied to see the hypothesis. They applied to the condition. They had no idea who has been posing in what pose. And let end up looking at this set of tabs. And let's say we want to hire these people or the hypothesis. We don't want to hire these people. We also evaluate these people much more positively overall. But what's driving it is not about the content of the speech. It's about the presence that they are bringing to the speech. Because we read them on all these variables related to competence, like how well constructed is the speech, how good is it, what are their qualifications, no effect on those things. That's what affects it. This kind of thing, people are bringing their true self. Basically, they are bringing themselves. They bring their idea, but as themselves with no, with residue over them. So that is what driving the effect or meditating the effect. So when I tell people about this, that our body change our mind and our mind can change our behavior and our behavior can change our outcome. They said to me, if you felt right, so I said, fat it till you make it. It's not me. I don't want to get there and then still feel like a fraud. I don't want to feel like I'm an imposter. I don't want to get there only to feel like I'm not supposed to be here. And they really resonate with me because I want to tell you a little story about being an imposter and feeling like I'm not supposed to be here. When I was 19, I was in a really bad car accident. I was thrown out of a car, rolled several times. I was thrown from the car, and I wound up in a head injury rehab room, and I had been withdrawn from college, and I learned that my IQ had dropped by 2 standard deviations, which was very traumatic. I knew my IQ because I had identified it with being smart, and I had been give us a child, so I am taken out of college. I kept trying to go back. They says, you are not going to finish college. Just, there are other things for you to do, but that's not going to work out for you. So I really struggled with this, and I had to say, having our identity taken from you, your core identity, and for me it was being small, having that taken from you. There is nothing that did you feeling more powerless than that, so I feel entirely powerless. I worked and worked, and I got lucky and worked and got lucky and worked. Eventually, I graduated from college. It took me 4 years longer than my peers, and I convinced someone, my angel advisor Susan Fries, to take me on it, and so I ended up in Princeton, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm an imposter. And the night before my first year talk, and the first year talk in Princeton is a 20-minute talk to 20 people. That's it. I was so afraid of being found on the next day that I called her and said, I'm quitting. She was like, you are not quitting because I took a gamble on you, and you are staying. You are going to stay. And it is what you are going to do. You are going to fail it. You are going to do every talk that you ever get asked to do. You are just going to do it and do it and do it, even if you are terrified and just paralyzed and having an out-of-body experience, until you have this moment where you say, oh my gosh, I'm doing life. I have become this, and I am actually doing this. So that's what I did. 5 years in grade school. A few years, I'm a Northwestern. I moved to Harvard. I'm in Harvard. I'm not really thinking about it anymore. But for a long time, I have been thinking, not supposed to be here. So in the end of my first year in Harvard, a student who had not taught in class the entire semester, who I had said, look, you have got to participate or else you are going to fail, came into my office. I really didn't know her at all. She came in totally defeated, and she said, I'm not supposed to be here. And that was the moment for me, because 2 things happened. One was that I realized, oh my gosh, I don't feel like that anymore. I don't feel that anymore, but she does. And I get that feeling. And the second was, she is supposed to be here, like she can feel it. She can become it. So I was like, yes, you are. You are supposed to be here. And tomorrow you are going to feel it. You are going to make yourself powerful, and And you are going to the classroom, and you are going to get the best comment ever, And should get the best comment ever. And people turn around and were like, oh my god, I didn't even notice her sitting there. She come back to me month later, and I realized that she had not just fed it till she made it. She had actually fed it till she became it. So she had changed. So I want to say to you, don't fed it till you make it. Fed it till you become it. Do it enough until you actually become it and internalize. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is tiny tweak can need to be changed. So it is 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes before you go into the next stressful evaluative situation. For 2 minutes, try doing this in the elevator, in the bathroom store, and your desk behind closed door. That's what you want to do. Configure your brain to cope the best in the situation. Get your testosterone up. Get your cortisol down. Don't leave that situation feeling like, oh, I didn't show them who I am. Leave that situation feeling like, I really feel like I'm going to say who I am and show who I am. So I want to ask you first, born to try power posing, and also I want to ask you to share the science because it is simple. I don't have ego involved in this. Give it away, share it with people, because the people who can use it the most are the ones with no resource and no technology and no status and no power. Get it to them because they can do it in private. They need their body, privacy, and 2 minutes, and it can significantly change the outcome of their life. Thank you.